President Trump extended the TikTok ban deadline again, but members of his own party don't feel too hot about it.
Trump announced the move on Truth Social, where else, writing, "I've just signed the executive order extending the deadline for the TikTok closing for 90 days, September 17th, 2025. Thank you for your attention to this matter."
TikTok, of course, praised the decision, writing in a statement, "We are grateful for President Trump's leadership and support in ensuring that TikTok continues to be available for more than 170 million American users and 7.5 million U.S. businesses that rely on the platform as we continue to work with Vice President Vance's office."
A couple of Republicans voiced their concern with Trump's decision. Armed Services Chair Roger Wicker told reporters, "I'm not overly delighted. I don't think it's a good idea." Missouri Senator Josh Hawley told Axios, "That's not my favorite thing. I'm fine with him trying to sell it. That's fine. But I think at a certain point, we've got to enforce this law."
Meanwhile, Democratic Senator Mark Warner is arguing that Trump's move doesn't have any legal basis. He said in a statement, once again, the Trump administration is flouting the law and ignoring its own national security findings about the risks posed by a PRC-controlled TikTok.
White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt responded to legal concerns. Here she is.
White House counsel and the Department of Justice have reviewed this executive order, and I can get it for you. I think it's on our website by now. If it's not, my team will now put it up immediately. And you can read the language in that executive order. And the White House counsel's office and the Department of Justice strongly believe in the legal rationale for this executive order. They wouldn't have the president's pen hit it if they didn't. And the political reasoning for this, of course, is because the president made a promise to keep TikTok on. There are 100 million Americans who use this app. It's wildly popular. He also wants to protect Americans' data and privacy concerns on this app, and he believes we can do both things at the same time. So he's making an extension so we can get this deal done.
Well, look, he's also soft on them, let's be honest, because he has 15 million followers and he has gained a large amount of traction with young voters through the platform. So there's no wonder that he has some personal interest in this.
Yeah, look, I think that's true, and I also question the legality of doing this. The bill that was passed through Congress said that there should be a one-time extension of 90 days by the president. This is now the third extension, so I am going to read the language in this executive order, as Caroline Leavitt asked me to do, and see what the heck she's talking about. But I think it's understandable that people are upset about this. Trump originally promised to ban TikTok, then walked that back after having a conversation with Vivek Ramaswamy, and since then has been continuing to punt on this piece of legislation. And to be clear, TikTok has been offered the opportunity to the parent company has been offered the opportunity to sell TikTok, right? As long as you sell to any company that is not controlled by the Chinese Communist Party, then you get to stay open. I don't think it should really be that complicated.
Well, right. And I think that they're talking about, millions of businesses, which is true. There are millions of businesses on that platform. But we're not saying to shut those down. It's just, to be clear to those who are watching, it's really about the, who's the owner of this platform and how it's going to affect data and security. So I think that these are all, I don't think TikTok is the one thing that's going to impact the Republican Party in terms of whether they get voted for in office again as we move forward in the months ahead and years ahead. I don't think it's going to be like, did they do TikTok or not? But I think it's one of those things that's of interest to the American public because so many people do use it. We know the data and security with these platforms can be off the chain, for lack of a better phrase, sometimes, and that all of a sudden you're getting bots and you're getting things once you do comment or send a message, and then all of a sudden it seems like your data has been breached in some way and you're getting random bots to you. And I've experienced that myself, so I know millions of others have as well. And so I think interacting on the platform is going to be something where are there going to be more restrictions will be the question, and also what will this mean for other platforms? So if TikTok goes through a lull or a pause between the sale or, merger, sale, whatever it might be, okay, how's this going to affect Instagram? How's this going to affect the way other platforms maneuver? And will they benefit indirectly because there may be a pause on TikTok for a little bit? I would assume so.
Yeah, I mean, one of the other parts of the security issues outside of the data breaches is the algorithm. The CCP apparently through ByteDance uses a different algorithm in the United States than they do in China, apparently for the purpose of sowing division in the United States. We've seen them elevate very divisive content in the past for the purpose of trying to basically rile up young people and get them protesting against the U.S. government, which they're allowed to do, obviously, but it's not good if foreign adversary is using a very addictive platform in order to spur that on for their own geopolitical purposes. The executive order states, because of the national security interests at stake and because Section 2D of the Act vests authority for investigations and enforcement of the Act only in the Attorney General, attempted enforcement by the states or private parties represents an encroachment on the powers of the executive. So basically they're saying because the law gives the power to the Attorney General to enforce it, then the Attorney General can basically just decide not to. Mm-hmm. We'll see what the courts say. I would imagine someone is probably going to challenge this.
But also, I want to pause right there because you mentioned a really good point. Look, how many times are you going to go against this deadline? And what does that say about respecting deadlines and building trust with the American people that you're going to do what you say you're going to do?
Yeah, I think that's fair. And look, I also think the fact that ByteDance has not sold yet, despite the ample opportunity, suggests to me that this is as great of a threat as a lot of these elected officials have said since leaving briefings surrounding intelligence beyond or about CCP's control of TikTok. If it weren't such a big deal, if the CCP were not controlling the app, then ByteDance should be happy to sell to an American company and collect that paycheck. But that they're holding on with it with such a death grip. Clearly, there's some other compelling interest there other than the financials.
And so what does this mean now? Like, what does this mean about the deadlines? What are we going to see by September? Like, what does this mean, for the administration and how they're going to handle TikTok? Because I think he's just looking at this from a self-interest perspective and the young voters that are on there, and he doesn't want to cause any friction right now, especially when you have Iran and Israel and that entanglement possibly happening. So I think he's focused on, I'll deal with it later. And he is known for his 2-week, et cetera, deadlines and not always keeping them.
And also, what incentive does ByteDance have to sell also if they believe that the president is just going to keep getting them out of the woods?
Right. And I think that hurts America's brand, that you're going to do what you say you're going to do.
Yeah.
You give a deadline, then stick to the deadline. So
I agree.
It'll be interesting to see how this all plays out. I know we've been talking about it on the show before, but we do know that when you look at how the folks abroad, I'll say, internationally are viewing America, our brand is going down because we don't honor exactly what we say we're going to do. And I think we used to do that better. Not perfect, but better.
That's going to do it for us today on Rising. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe to the Hills YouTube channel so you never miss any content. And for those of you who like to listen while on the go, we are now available anywhere you listen to podcasts.